If you're looking for professional day trading education and high-level trade analysis and dissection, you have come to the right place. My name is Pat Mitchell. I've been a professional day trader for the past 11 years, and I am here to bring you exactly that. Professional day trading education all here for free on YouTube and on X. And tonight we're going to be going over a couple of trades that I took and going to be going over my thoughts. And I'm going to give you a little piece of advice towards the end of this. And I'm going to use an example from a trader that I was speaking with today. And I think you guys are going to get something out of it. So hopefully you guys stick around until then. But let's rock and roll. Hope you all had a wonderful day. Let's do this. Okay. So let's go over these trades here this morning. So we ended up gapping up again, which again, if you watched the recap yesterday, I mean, this shouldn't come as a shock at all. Nor should this squeeze all the way up not come as a shock. This is something that I talked about, in depth yesterday. So let's go over these trades. So first off, let's talk about Qs. So Qs, we were really patient here this morning. I'm going to show you a trade that I wanted to take, but didn't get the execution. So on SPY here, what I wanted was a breakdown of this level. Now, for those of you that might be joining us for the first time, you might be looking at this and it's like, oh, he marked out high of day and essentially low of day or a range. No, these levels are always placed prior to the market open by at least 30 minutes prior to the market open. And then I develop trade plans surrounding these levels. And like I said, it's always done prior to, it's never after the fact. So that's what these levels are. So what I wanted, because if you can see, we were trading in and around this range, and then we squeezed up getting over this level. And this level represents this overall main trend. And I'm not going to wheel the daily chart back, but there is a trend level there. So we opened up above. So what I need in order to take that, because I'm not going to go long into that level because of the amount of extension, is going to want to find a lower level of support. And that would be the level that we want long. I wanted it to come down, fail, pop back up to retest this level to where I could then risk off of these pre-market highs. Now, I didn't get that, so we simply had to wait. And I ended up executing down here on that long. But before that, there was a trade that we could get involved with here on Qs. And I'm going to explain that trade. So what I just showed you here on SPY is we are above a level. So that is support. Once we get below that level, it becomes resistance. It's technical analysis 101. So essentially, I took the same trade, only slightly different here on Qs. What we have is we have pre-market highs right there. And we open below it, it comes up. So I wanted to wait for it to fail. Once it fails, pops back up to retest, I'm going to start working this trade and simply risk off of pre-market highs. And that's the trade that you see before you here. Started in, coming back up into this pre-market high area, and simply averaged and added into pre-market highs as my risk. It's a very simple, straightforward trade. Now, my goal or target on this is this level. Now, normally I don't go short coming down into support if there's support there. But from your entry, if you have enough, there's enough of a window there to make a few bucks. And that's simply what I did. So executed on the way up, risking pre-market highs, and locked in $825. Now, please keep in mind, today is Tuesday. I work with my live trading members, and I am using a lot less size than I normally would. Fridays, when I'm working with the live trading members, I am working with full size. So Fridays are usually, but I don't do recaps on Fridays anymore because it's an absolute waste of my fucking time. So with that said, that was Qs. Qs was a really nice, standard, straightforward trade. And then as it's coming down, right, SPY is making its way down. Didn't get the entry short. I wanted it, but didn't get it. So then we have to work with the long. So executing the long, coming down into this level, risking pre-market lows. And that's exactly what I did here. As it comes down into that level, execute, comes down, touches the level, I add, I pay myself on the pop. There's an ad there, one ad. And then I even said, and I'm going to zoom in here. It's pretty interesting because as soon, it was literally seconds before, I said they're about to just, they're going to dip it below this level. They're going to stop out longs. And then I'll explain why I can tell you that before it happens. And then it's going to ramp up. And that's exactly what I took advantage of. So I locked in $473 on that. So not an overly huge day, but really happy with the execution. So now let me explain this. So I'm going to give you a little piece of advice, not the piece of advice and conversation that we're going to have here in a second, but it's something that you guys should really pay attention to. This market right now, what you're going to see is you're going to see levels. And I kind of discussed this a little bit yesterday when I talked about the big drop that is potentially coming. They are going to make it look like a very clear long. Okay. Now this is the micro of that version. And you're going to see this happen at valid levels after big, long sell-offs into the level. What they're going to do is, and at first glance, is it looks like it just held and then came up. That's not actually what happened. They stop out longs that are oversizing to basically scoop up that liquidity. And I know it doesn't look like much, but when you do that 10 times a day as institutional or smart money, you can make a lot of money basically fucking over retail longs or retail shorts for that matter. And that's what happened. I said they're about to basically crack it just below this level, and then it's going to get scooped up. And if you watched it live, it's hard to tell after the fact on a dead chart here, but you could see that that's exactly what they did. So locked in on that. Like I said, locked in about $500 on that trade, and overall, really easy peasy day. And then as we take a look, this ended up really ripping up, cruised all the way up, and Q's cruised all the way up into that trend level. Now, I would have loved to have taken that trade because that was a gimme trade if it happened to test it. But I'm never watching the market at the end of the day. It's 30 minutes to the market close. I'm doing other things. I'm not paying attention to the market at that point. But now I want to talk about bias and perception of new and struggling traders. I want you to take a look at this first little bit. That happened, actually, that even happened before that. So it was boop, 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 until 10:30, right in here. And then basically right in, sorry guys, just need to get it right about there. So there was a member that said, are we consolidating because there are earnings tomorrow? And I kind of chuckled at that because, and I'll explain why. What a lot of traders do is they will apply a certain bias to what they're seeing on a 1-minute chart. And they also do a second thing, and they apply their timeline to the market. And I even said the market's only been open for about 45 minutes. At that point, it was only open 45 minutes. And you're applying something and basically you're coming to a conclusion that isn't based on anything other than what's in your head. And this is it's a big problem. It's a problem that a lot of members have. And I'm not mentioning this member by name because it's not about putting him on blast. I had this conversation with him when he said it. But I hope now, and I doubt it, but I hope that after the conversation that we had here this morning, talking about applying biases to something and putting your timeline on the market, right? It's only been 40 minutes and you're already saying it's like it's doing this and it's doing that because of this, that, or the other thing. I hope he looks at the chart by the end of the day here, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow as well. Do you see how wrong You were. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong to throw it in your face and say that you're wrong. Don't get my words twisted here, okay? What you're wrong about is applying that bias on something on a very short time frame, very small sample size. And we can talk about this in regards to strategy, okay? So what I see a lot of traders do, and this is a little bit different now, but traders will basically do the exact same thing that this member did, talking about the consolidation and applying earnings to it and the whole fucking nine, where it's like, market's only been open for 40 minutes. Like, fucking relax. Like, don't jump to conclusions. But traders will do this when it comes to strategy. They'll work a strategy for 50 trades. And all of a sudden, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, man. Right? And they will definitely find out the hard way that it doesn't work that way. It is a very small sample size. It's one of the reasons why traders will also get egos over doing well for a short period of time. Maybe they've done really well and they're consistent for a month. Maybe they're consistent for 6 months. Maybe they're consistent for a year. That is short term. That is not long-term consistency at all. Not even close. But it's the same thing. It's easy to become delusional in this game, because you'll see something, and it's basically a really good example of like confirmation bias. You have something in your mind. You're already thinking about earnings tomorrow, and the market's going to trade funny, whatever it is, whatever it looks like. And then for whatever reason, the market is consolidating, which I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a consolidation. It's a tight range, but it has nothing to do with consolidation. I mean, if you look at SPY, it came from 687 all the way down to 685. It's a 2-point drop. And then for, what was that? So from 953 until about 10:15, that's 45 minutes. So you're talking about 15, 25 minutes of consolidation. You're already jumping to the conclusion that it has to do with earnings tomorrow. Like, when it gets spelled out like that, do you see the level of delusion that's there and how wrong you are and how easy it is to be wrong? It's important that we catch ourselves doing this shit before you say things like that, because once you say it out loud, it's going to be real fucking hard to break that barrier in your mind. And this is where a lot of traders will get themselves into trouble. And let's say they're short in this, they'll ride it all the way up because of that delusion in their mind, right? Now, I'm not saying that a consolidation, you're going to go short or long or whatever. I'm just saying that it's very easy to be wrong, get locked into a bias, and then you fucking fight it for 5 points, 10 points straight up. I see people do that all the time. But again, just to kind of hammer this point home, it's the same thing that I see when people get delusional over their consistency. And we all see it a million times on social media. You'll see a new trader, maybe they've been trading for 6 months, and they think they're a fucking badass because they made a few bucks. Well, that's not consistent. That's not consistency. 6 months is not consistency. A year is not consistency. This is a game of infinite consistency and self-control and discipline. It's a lot harder than what you think. But because you're doing well for a month or two, you can create delusion in your mind, and it's very fucking dangerous. So it's important that we look at these charts and assess it for what is actually happening, not what we think is happening. And if you can do that, you've got a shot at this long term. But if you don't, and you're constantly jumping to conclusions, and you're saying this and you're saying that, you think it's doing this, you think it's doing that, who gives a fuck what you think? The market doesn't give a shit what you think, man. The market doesn't know your name, doesn't know you exist. It doesn't give a fuck about you. So stop with the thinking that it's going to do this and it's going to do that, because it's going to get you fucking nowhere. So this needs to be something that is based in reality. It's not like social media where you can say an opinion is fact. And then you'll have confirmation bias by a bunch of fucking yahoos agreeing with you, right? This isn't that. This is something different. Trading is different that way. It is only based in fact. And if you deviate from that, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked so badly that you'll see exactly what I mean down the road. Because you're going to blow up and you're going to lose every penny you fucking have. And then I'm going to be sitting here saying, I fucking told you so. Told you not to do that, dummy. Right? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't something that you can piss around with, and you need to catch yourself if you catch yourself slipping. But you got to have the ability to catch yourself, right? So on that note, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that and tell that story about consolidation. It's a 40-minute consolidation, which I wouldn't consider that a consolidation. And then it ripped up 5 points. So make sure you're basing things in fact and not a very short timeline, because that matters. Okay, guys, I hope you all have a great day. What's this here? Hey, man, how you doing? It's been a while. Okay, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. If you want to learn how to come do this, come to tricktrades.com. And if not, you want to continue on with the free stuff, that's why it's there. But I'm going to warn you, it's going to fucking take you forever to put these pieces together. That's the reality. But hey, that's your choice. That's why it's there. And if not, come to tricktrades.com and learn from someone that can actually get you there. So on that note, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Adios.